You guys, I had the craziest weekend ever. And it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. But I want to share it with you because I know you'll be able to relate and take away something good from it. You're listening to episode 24 of
The Gold Mine Podcast.
As women, we have to invest that time in getting to understand who we are.
Be ambitious, be bold, create the life of your dreams. This is the Gold Mine Podcast with your host, Adrian Dion.
What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for joining me again on another episode of the Gold Mine Podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you that take the time to listen each week. And each week I look forward to recording this podcast so that I can connect with you guys. So from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. Last week, I had the honor of being featured on a new podcast called The Diary of a Female Entrepreneur by Nancy Mensah. You may remember that name because Nancy was on this podcast, one of the first episodes where we talked about entrepreneurship. And so I am now a guest. I was a guest on her podcast. So if you guys haven't already checked it out, please do go over. She's on iTunes, Spotify, pretty much everywhere podcasts are heard. Check out the episode with me, and we're talking all about managing your mind for business. And so it was such a fun episode. I had so much fun recording it. It was a great conversation, lots of laughs, and so I know you guys are going to enjoy it. Go over there, show her some love. She has some great guests on her podcast, so go and show her some love. Also, we are looking for a guest for the Gold Mine Podcast. So if you know anyone or you are someone who would like to share your story, I would love to have you. Make sure you fill out an application. All of the links are in the show notes. If you are wanting to advertise products or your business and services, there's also an application for that. So just make sure you fill out the right one. And we would love to have you. So be sure to fill those out. This is why I created the show, to be able to have a platform for others to share their exceptional stories. So now that we've gotten all of that out this way, oh yeah, one more thing. If you enjoy the show, if you listen, if this is your thing, make sure you take some time to fill out a review. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes. You just click a link in the show notes, type up your review about it, and that's it. It just helps with exposure. It helps to spread the word, and I would really appreciate it. I get a lot of DMs and I get a lot of emails about how much you enjoy the show, but it would be great for others to be able to see them. So make sure you do that, or you can just rate the show. Just hit the stars at the top. You know, I would love for 5, but if you want to give me a 1, that's okay. Just make sure you explain why. Make sure you do that as well. Thank you. Now let's get into the show. So this weekend, for those of you who do not know, I am engaged. I got engaged back in June to my wonderful fiance of 3 years. And so this weekend we had our photo shoot. And while I should have been excited, I was stressed out, like so stressed out. Well, what happened is that we had the choice of 2 locations, 2 outfit changes. I knew that I wanted one to be very dramatic and formal. And so I wanted to wear a red gown and do it on the beach. And so weeks ago, I got my red dress, and we knew what we were going to wear for that one. We just had to figure out what we were going to wear for the casual scene or whatever. And so since I knew that I wanted to do the red, I was telling my fiance, why don't you pick your outfit first? I want you to, have what you want, and then I'll coordinate my outfit around you. Now, I'm a planner. I love to have things planned ahead. I hate last minute things, and so I do things way ahead of time. Like, most of my wedding is already planned, and I'm not getting married until next year. And so I gave him that option, and he was supposed to find something to wear, but he didn't. And so the last thing I wanted to do was to be looking for an outfit the weekend of the photo shoot. And I'll be doggone if literally that's what happened. So to be on the safe side, a couple weeks ago, well, maybe a week ago, I ordered something, an outfit, just in case. I ordered an outfit and some shoes, and well, of course it came, and the dress was too big and the shoes were too small, so it wouldn't work. So Friday we went out, and we looked for something to wear. We couldn't find anything. The whole day Saturday, which I had planned to be in front of the TV watching Alabama play football, and there was a big boxing fight. My fiance is really into boxing. There was a big boxing fight, so he wanted to be, at home watching the fight. We were literally, you guys, at the mall from store to store. I think we started around 12 and we got home at 9. Literally 9 hours of going, looking and looking and looking for something to wear. He is so picky. And I was furious. It was crazy. We would go in the store, they wouldn't have our sizes, they wouldn't have the color that we wanted. We would find something that was a spot on it. It was just crazy. It was nothing, we could never figure anything out. And the more that happened, the madder I got. My attitude was bad. The people in the store, it just seems like nobody wanted to help. It was just a bad, bad, bad situation. And so our photo shoot was Sunday at 4 p.m. And we ended up just buying, we bought his outfit Saturday. We just had to pick something. And we get home and we put everything together and it didn't work. It didn't match. It was horrible. And so I'm pretty sure you guys can imagine how upset I was the night before. And we had spent all day looking for something. Finally came home with just, something. At least we had something, and then get home to find out it didn't work. I was so upset. I was just so mad. I was tossing and turning. It was the night before our photo shoot, and it was very important for me because these are the pictures we're going to use on everything. And so I couldn't concentrate. I was just mad. I wanted to blame, but I knew that wasn't going to serve me. And I just didn't even know what to do. And so even when I wanted to start praying, I was like, God, why? Why is it happening like this? This is so important to me. And I just feel you should have allowed, why didn't you just allow me to be able to go and find something that I wanted and him find something that he wanted and everything just be okay? Why did it have to turn out like this? I was just so mad. And I felt so bad. I felt so disappointed because I was like, God, you know how important this is to me. Why did you allow this to happen like this? And so as I was praying, I just was I know that this attitude is bad, but I don't know how else to feel. I have to be honest with how I feel. So whatever the problem is, show me, tell me, what am I doing wrong? What is it that I did wrong? That this ended up being like this. And a lot of times I think that when our relationship with God, we want it to be I'm reading the Bible, I do my devotion, I pray. So that means I want everything in life to go like I want it, And the first thing that came to mind when I was praying that, it was just I'm not a genie, right? I'm not here for you to just pray and then everything just happens exactly how you want it to. God is a good father. He's a good father to us. And because of that, a lot of time he allows us to go through things, or he allows things to happen so that we can grow from it. We can learn from it. And I believe this is exactly what this situation was. And a lot of times, unfortunately, God teaches us lessons about things that we want really, really bad. Like, of course, something that's not important to you, you don't really care about. So you really won't pay attention. But the things that you're that's really important to you, that you want to be perfect, that's a lot of times when things happen and lessons can be taught during that time because you're paying attention. And no, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good, but God knows this is the best time for him to teach us a lesson because we're going to grow from it so much. As I'm thinking about this, I'm actually thinking about one of my good friends who's actually pregnant and about to have a baby, and she was just writing on Facebook about her testimony of how, at the beginning of her pregnancy, she had a lot of complications. And at one point they were telling her that if things don't change, you're going to have to deliver the baby and the baby's only going to live 2 hours. Fast forward to now where the baby's almost due and he's at 100% survival rate. And so during that time, this is her first child, and she didn't imagine her pregnancy to be anything like this, but it's really stretched her faith so much. She's seen God in a whole different light than before. Now, do you think that her faith could have been stretched like that if it was only about, going to pick out some shoes or believing God to give her money for a new couch that she wanted? No. And a lot of times we think life is so unfair, but things happen out of love. They come to make us stronger. They come to grow us and to teach us lessons and to show God's glory. One of the things that has been coming to me, I've been seeking God and asking him for direction for a lot of moving forward with the podcast and just the business in general. And the one thing that I kept hearing when I was fasting is that you're distracted. You're distracted with the busyness of the cares of this world. And when you're distracted, when your mind is filled with all of the things that I have to do this, I have to do that, you're not able to hear God. You're not able to get directions. I was listening to somebody say that, I think it was Joyce Myers. She was saying it's just like you being in a room full of people and somebody's on one end and they're trying to speak to you, but you're on the other end, and even though they're speaking, because of all the noise and all the people in the room, you're not able to hear it because it's too noisy. That's the same way our minds are when we're trying to get direction from God, but it's filled with so many other things of what I have to do. And he kept telling me to, put aside that stuff, stop and seek me and listen. Don't be distracted. And so that's how I felt going in. I was like, God, I put you first. I stopped and I didn't look for an outfit. I didn't do any of that. I kept seeking you and I wasn't distracted. And now when it's time for me it's time for me to go pick an outfit, I felt like it was supposed to be, I was supposed to go in the store and find exactly what I wanted and be able to come out because I did my part. So God is just going to make it work and make it happen because I put him first. And so when it didn't happen like that, I was so disappointed and I felt like, God, you let me down, and I knew okay, that's not God's character. So what is it? I know that it's something that I need to be learning from this situation. And that's when I got that I needed to change my perspective. As I stated earlier, I am a planner and I like to have things already planned out so that I eliminate any room for error or for things just, going bad. And so when things do not play out the way that I want, I lose it. Like I just fall apart. Like when things don't go as planned, I fall apart because I spend so much time planning in the planning process. And so when things didn't go that way, I did fall apart. All I could think about was, this is what I did not want to happen. This is why I said we should have done this. all I could think about was everything negative. And as I continued to think about negative, it was just like negativity just kept coming. The people at the job, at the different stores were nasty and had bad attitudes. Everything that could go wrong kept going wrong. But I kept seeing it that way because that was a perspective that I had. You guys, I got up the next day. After I got that, I was like, okay, change my perspective. Cool. Let me listen to some Joel Osteen because your girl needs to have some positivity. And there was actually an episode by his wife where she was talking about changing your perspective and how she talked about this guy who had come to the pastor and said, you know, my life is just really bad right now. Everything that could go wrong just seems like it's going wrong. And so I want to, some help or whatever. And so he came in and the pastor was just like, so nothing's going right. He was like, absolutely nothing is going right. So he got this piece of paper and he drew a line down the middle and he said, so let's just talk about what's right in your life and all the things that are wrong in your life. And the man was like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing going right in my life. And so the pastor said to him, oh, well, I'm so sorry to hear that your wife died. How are you dealing with that? And he said, what? My wife's not dead. My wife's alive. She's at home right now. So the pastor picked up the pen and he wrote on the side, everything going right. He wrote, wife alive and well. And so he said, well, I heard about, your house burning down. I just can't even imagine, how hard that was for you. And he was like, what? Like, no, my house is not burned down. I'm living in my house. What are you talking about? And he was like, oh, okay. So he wrote on the list, has home and clothes. And so the guy said, Pastor, where are you getting all this horrible information from? Where are you getting this from? None of that is true. And he was like, I'm getting it from you. You said absolutely nothing is going right in your life. And so when I heard that, it literally stopped me in my tracks. I was like, wait a minute. I have so much to be thankful for. The photographer that we had for the photo shoot, I literally saw his work 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, that's going to be my wedding photographer. I didn't even have a boyfriend at the time. I actually even messaged him, and I still have the message in the inbox, because when I got ready to message him about my actual wedding, it was still there. And so actually everything with that fell into place. I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to afford to fly him out here to Cali. And just so happened he's actually moving out here to California just in time for my wedding next year. And he actually did us a favor by coming out here, flying out here, because it would be his first photo shoot in California. So he did that for us. I mean, God shows so much favor just in that situation. So the fact that he was coming was such a blessing and something that was such a dream come true. I just started to think of all the things I had to be thankful for. The fact that I'm getting married is such a blessing. There are so many people out there who are looking for someone or who want someone and they don't have anybody. So that in itself was a blessing. The fact that I even had another outfit already was a blessing. And so I just started to just indulge myself in gratefulness and thankfulness. And it just literally changed my mood. I was even like, well, thank God the photo shoot is at 4 p.m. because now I have a little bit more time to go find an outfit beforehand. And so we got dressed and got everything to take ready to take back to the store where we got it, because none of it worked. We returned it and we walked in the store. They were just opening. All the employees were so helpful and just greeting us and just so helpful and happy. It just seemed like every single thing was going right. We ended up going to one of the other stores for me to look for something, and in that area is horrible parking because it's right by the beach. And we got over there, we got on the street right in front of the store, there was a parking space. Like, we didn't have, like, it was no issues whatsoever. We went right in, picked up something, was on time for my makeup appointment. Kadeem was on time for his haircut. Like, it just seemed like everything just fell into place. The photo shoot was amazing. I had so much fun. Jamin is so funny, and I can't wait to see the pictures. Just even the sneak peeks that he sent were amazing, unedited. And so the whole situation just allowed me to understand what it meant by getting a new perspective. Everything is not going to always go as planned, no matter how much you prepare for. But you have to remember that whatever you focus on will magnify. So it's so important to do a self-check immediately so that you don't get swallowed up into negativity. I promise you, the sentence of "this is exactly what I did not want to happen" played in my head 10 million times Saturday. 10 million times, I'm pretty sure. And I just kept wallowing in that. And therefore, that kept magnifying. It just continued to magnify the more I focused on it. And it literally was not serving me. It didn't do anything for me. But the minute I changed my perspective, it seemed like everything just fell into place. So I want you to think about the things that isn't going right for you right now. Are you attracting negativity because you're so focused on negativity? How do you handle situations when things don't go as planned? Are you giving up? Do you give in to temptation? If you see this continue to happen, it's happening for a reason. It's not because the world is against you and nothing ever happens good for you. There is something that you need to learn from these situations, and it's probably that your perspective needs to change. Start with thankfulness. Find one thing that you can be grateful for and thankful for in that situation. And when you find one, it's going to lead to another one. And when you continue to just be grateful and thankful that, things could be worse. I could not even have this problem. There are so many people that would love to just even have this problem. I think about me and my best friend were talking about a very popular fashion blogger who recently died from cancer. And she had made a post and she was talking about how a lot of people complain about, going to the gym, and how she was saying she loved going to the gym and she wished she had the energy to go. She wished she could be back in the gym and could exercise and do the things that a lot of us take for granted. There is so much to be thankful for and so much to be grateful for. And I know that you can find it in any situation. Even with my friend who is about to have her baby, there are so many moms, so many people who would love to have children and cannot. And so as bad as that situation is, a lot of people would love to just be in her shoes. Life and all the situations that it brings can be either horrible or it can be an amazing venture. It's just the way you look at it. It's just your perspective that you have. And you have a choice. You can get up and choose to have a great day. You can choose that even in a situation that you're in, you're going to enjoy the process. You're going to look at the positive. Even though you may be going through that situation, you're going to indulge in thankfulness and gratefulness, even in the horrible situation. It's your choice. And even going back to, when I told you I was praying to God and he said that I was distracted, I was still distracted even in that because I felt like, okay, we're at the end. I still didn't find my outfit until the day before. And it literally, everything went well. And so his word did not lie. He did not lie. It all worked out to be great. The actual day of the photo shoot was amazing. Like, we went, picked out something, came home, got my makeup done. Like, it was a great day. The photo shoot turned out great. I'm sure the pictures are. Everything was fine. And so we have to make sure that we're not distracted. And even when things don't go like we want, that we choose the perspective that's going to serve us, which is always going to be positive. I literally could have watched the game Saturday. We could have, done our thing in the kitchen, enjoyed some boxing that day, because we literally got nothing done anyway. It's funny now, but I promise you, Saturday, woo, I just wanted to kill somebody. And so it's so important that when things are not going like you want them to stop, self-check and check your perspective. Check and see if you're indulging in negativity or blame. And if they are, it's okay. You have to be honest with yourself, and then make the decision to change your perspective. And I'm sure everything will change. I read a quote that says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So I hope my crazy story and my crazy weekend will help you do just that. Be sure to leave me a review and rate the show if you enjoyed it. If not, do what your mama said and don't say nothing at all. Just kidding. But I would love to hear from you guys, and I look forward to next week. Have a great week, you guys. Bye.